get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most awesome homesteading channel on the entire planet that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid. And absolutely nothing to do with barbers either. I decided to wear my hair down today instead of wearing it in a ponytail so you can see how long it's gotten. So, once again, I've offered, this year my football team, middle school age kids, I'm like, hey guys, if we win the championship this year, I'm going to let you cut off my hair. And once again, what do I get? No, coach, we love your hair. This used to be a thing. You old school folks can remember this. Bill Cowher from the Steelers refused to shave until they won a Super Bowl. He had a beard down to here, but he finally got to shave. Back when I was in high school, our coaches would say, hey, if we win, this game against our rivalry or whatever, on Monday morning, the whole school will gather in the auditorium and the football team can shave my hair. People used to get into that, but not anymore. Okay, I'm eventually going to coach a team who wants to shave my hair off for winning a championship. But anyway, today, what are we going to talk about today? 2 lies and 1 truth. Like, I thought of a great name for a show. Like, if I were to do a regular show, I thought about calling it The Lies They Tell Us, because there's lies everywhere. I skim the news or the media rarely. A couple times a week, I'll, and if something catches my eyes, I'll read it. But it's never politics. I do not care. But things that are maybe that might pertain to me, directly or indirectly. But I'm not too obsessed with, you hear people say, well, aren't you concerned that you're not aware of what's going on with current events? No, because neither are you if you follow them. Because the truth never comes out until a considerable amount of time later. It's like Mark Twain said. He's one of my favorite authors. People who do not read the news are uninformed, but people who do read the news are misinformed. And there's a great truth. Current events. If you want to know what the truth behind what was going on a few years ago, maybe you could find out today. If you want to know the truth about what's going on today, you might be able to find out in a few years. So no, I don't feel like I'm missing out on not knowing current events. Topic number 1, one of the lies they're telling us, it will make my case in point. Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Meta, parent company of Facebook, finally came out and said that he regrets having suppressed certain social media posts pertaining primarily to COVID and the political agenda, the political climate. So for the past few years, it has been known by those of us who work in the social media industry that Facebook very heavily censored not just conservative political posts, but any post that had a conservative nature to it, such as strong family values, patriotism. It's so odd. It's such a weird world to be disliked because you have morals and you love freedom. I mean, I would have never thought this would be the case, but here we are. And posts like that have been censored. Now, if you were to come out and say that, you would be called a conspiracy theorist. You would be called a crybaby, a whiner. But I've worked in social media for almost 15 years now. It's really the only thing it's not the only thing I do. I still write books. I'm an Amazon affiliate marketer. I'm a multiple income stream kind of guy. We get 15 different paychecks a month from all the various places. 1090 or investment income, dividends from stocks, but 1099s every year. I go to my CPA with a stack of 1099s like that. And the reason I do it is because that's safety. See, people confuse the terms safety and security. They think that if they get a good job, which I've never understood what that meant, with wonderful benefits, which I never understood what that meant. And if you've ever needed that health insurance, you know exactly what I mean. That employer provided health insurance. They think that's how you're safe. You're safe. go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a degree from a prestigious university, get a good job with a reputable company, and then you're safe. No, you're not. On any given day, your position could be eliminated. On any given day, the company you work for could go bankrupt. On any given day, the company you work for could be bought out by a different company in a merger, and you and everybody else from the old company gets axed. The boomers found that out the hard way at the turn of the current century. On any given day, after you've been putting in 25 or 30 years and you've reached your high income years, your company can get rid of you and hire 3 people from the generation beneath you and pay them less total than they're paying you. There's no safety in that. At most, there's a bit of security, and it's only temporary. Safety is knowing, and I've been through it, going back to Mark Zuckerberg. I used to be a partner with a group of Facebook page owners who we would allow each other to post on each other's pages. We called it post for post. You just made the other guy or the other girl an admin. So, for example, we have Sick Twisted Humor on Facebook. We've got 882,000 followers now, hoping to have 1 million by Christmas. Thank you if you're one of them. So, for example, I could partner with maybe some other people that had big pages, and I'd say, hey, you can post 4 times a day on my page if you let me post 4 times a day on your page. And we would do that, and so that helped us grow our page. It helped us grow revenues. I was associated with some folks who did have political pages, even though I didn't write political articles. Just never been into it. I don't care. But I did post on their pages, and they had access to posting on mine. So during the 2016 election, it was Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Mark Zuckerberg thought the fact that Donald Trump was running for president was a joke. And he thought, like most people, and they thought there's no way he's going to win. It's just not possible. Well, when he did, Zuckerberg got butthurt about it, and he went through and he just wiped the slate on Facebook clean of all these conservative political pages and the pages of anybody who was associated with them. So overnight, we went from making roughly between $30,000 and $40,000 a month. That was my income back then, to making $800 a month. Because Zuck went in and got rid of all the conservative pages, having his little temper tantrum. And then from then until I don't think we're alone. Make sure you continue to get my 6, which means watch behind me, because you never know who or what may or may not show up in the backdrops of these videos. Heard some sort of growl or scream just now. You know, the veil's growing thin. It's an overcast day. There's moisture, a weather event. It's rain. We're where field meets forest. And Halloween's drawing nigh, so the veil's growing thin. And boy, do I got some stories for you this October. So anyway, I learned through those experiences several things. Number one, I do not partner with any other social media content creators today. No one has access to my platforms, my pages, my channels, except me. Because if I'm going to take a hit like that again, it's going to be because of something I do wrong, not because of something some other dude does wrong. You know, that was terrible that I was posting stories about Bigfoot on some of those people's pages. And they were posting stuff about how Donald Trump was going to save the world and crooked Hillary belonged in prison. And that cost me my business. You know what I mean? So never again. But Zuckerberg has come out recently and he's saying that he regrets having censored conservative posts. He was pressured by the creepy Uncle Joe Biden administration to do it, especially when COVID was going around. And so he was doing the same thing he did to our group. He was canceling people's accounts, banning them from Facebook. So we, of course, did the YouTube thing at the time. And now through that experience, we know, hey, don't have 1 or 2 income streams. Have as many as you can. And we're at about 15 right now. We're currently blowing up Instagram, going viral over there with everything. And I'm always looking for other avenues. So he's come out. He says he regrets it and he will never do it again. I don't believe him for a minute. I do not believe Mark Zuckerberg as far as I could throw him, and I guarantee you I could throw him farther than I would ever believe him. What's my take on it? Zuckerberg knows that Trump is coming back, and he's bringing hell's fury with him. And when he gets back in the White House, some heads are going to roll. And all Mark Zuckerberg is trying to do is take his head off the chopping block. He even went as far as to refer to Donald Trump as a badass, which he is in my humble opinion. And this doesn't mean I support him, doesn't mean I support his party. It's just, I think it's entertaining seeing somebody who isn't afraid of the establishment and who isn't afraid to be called all kinds of nasty things because he calls it like he sees it. Now, I'm not saying that he calls it like it is, because I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says, but he calls it as he sees it. He's got the backbone to do it. And in Zuckerberg's words, yeah, that makes him a badass. But I do not believe for a minute that Zuckerberg regrets doing what he did to conservatives. I do not believe for a minute he regrets having censored Facebook. I think he's afraid of Donald Trump because, well, that's okay. So there's the one lie they're telling us. What's the other lie they're telling us? Okay. I do have an economics background. I was a financial planner for 8 years before I went into the military. I have always actively followed markets and financial markets because it was more of like a hobby and an interest than a thing. And once we got through our down and out days in the Philippines and the money started coming in again, I have actively invested for quite some time now. I'm able to do so successfully because I'm able to separate my emotions from my money. Most people can't. I was a financial planner and, in the Charlottesville, Virginia area, home of the university. So you have a lot of college types, a lot of highly educated people who thought that just because they were so smart, they didn't need me, didn't need to pay me a commission. I would go cold calling and I would run into these people and they would tell me how smart they were. They had universities from the university, which is what they call UVA around here. There's only one university. And this was during the .com craze when a monkey could literally throw a dart at a board with stock symbols on it and then buy whichever one the dart hit and make money. And they would tell me, why would I pay you commissions when I can do it myself for free, all this stuff. Well, the .com bubble burst and some of these folks came running into my office with their statements. Accounts that used to be $100,000 was now worth $12,000, or maybe their account was worth $250,000 during the .not craze. That's what we called it. And it was down to like 18 grand. And I'd look at it and, they'd want my help. And I'd say, well, look at the good news. And they'd say, what's the good news? And I'd say, at least you saved money on commissions. And, then they'd say, yes, about that. How much are you, if we do business together, how much are you planning to charge me? And I would say to them, you, sir, as much as legally possible. Half of them would get up and take their little worthless statements, Ameritrade statements or whoever it was, and they'd leave, and I'd laugh as they left the office. Some of them, they'd go like that, and I'd say, hey, come on, it's bluster. I'll help you out. Let's see what we can do to try to work on this. But here's what I know. One of my favorite companies, and I used to sell this to my clients, I would recommend it to them, was Dollar General. Dollar General, yeah, the little department store that caters towards the lower socioeconomic end of our population. Why did I like Dollar General? Now, this is back at the turn of the current century, around the year 2000, early 2000s. At that time, that stock had split at least once and sometimes twice a year for like 20 years before that. When I was selling that stock to my clients back in circa 1999 to 2006 or so, 2007, when I left that industry, it was a $20 to $22 a share stock. Around 2000, it worked its way up to $40 a share. This past summer, I think it hit an all-time high of $260 a share. So you could have made a ton of money in Dollar General. They had this amazing business philosophy in that they intentionally catered to the working poor, okay? The working poor and people who were on government assistance, welfare, who didn't work. And the reason the company did that, it was genius. I mean, listen to this. They did it because they viewed it as if those folks were recession-proof. In that, listen, you got the poor and you got the wealthy. And I talked about this the other day in regards to health insurance, and some people might have missed this point. If you're middle class, yes, have health insurance, because you don't got enough money to pay for your cancer when you get it. And you will lose the few things that you do think you have. If you're poor, the government will take care of you. If you're rich, you can take care of yourself. The poor and the wealthy are not affected by upswings and downturns the wealthy are affected very much by upswings in the economy. They get even richer. But the topsy-turviness of the economy doesn't affect the poor and the rich quite like it does the middle class. The middle class gets screwed all the way around. They're doing 80 to 85% of the work, paying 80 to 85% of the taxes. But it's all by choice. I call them sheeple, and I'm not trying to be offensive. It's because of the way of thinking that they've been taught, and this is why our son isn't going to public school right now, because they're trying to just perpetuate the cycle, create the next generation of worker bees, servants, slaves, and peasants. I've said this for years. The only difference between poor people and middle class people is debt. That's it. Middle class people have stuff, but if you were to take away the stuff that they're paying on through credit cards, finance companies, the banks, HELOCs, home equity line of credits. The yuppies like to go out and buy new cars every couple years and write the check off their home equity line of credit and then brag that their car is paid for. No, it's not. Now, this is why you bought a $200,000 house 15 years ago that you still owe $450,000 on, because every 18 months when it bumps up in value, you either pull out equity or you dip into your home equity line of credit. They don't have anybody fooled but themselves, I think. I think they have themselves fooled that they have other people fooled. So anyway, Dollar General, what was so genius about them is that they didn't want the middle class, because then Dollar General as a company would be susceptible to downswings in the economy, because their shoppers, their customers, the middle class, wouldn't be able to come in and shop. Walmart is more affected by downturns than Dollar General. And you can see that throughout history if you follow stocks. Well, yesterday, as of this recording, Dollar General's stock sank 32% in one day. It was down $32 a share, closed yesterday at $87 a share, I think. Why is that? Because they came out and they told the truth, which debunks the lie. The lie has been, inflation's over. We're not going to hit a recession. It's okay to maybe start lowering interest rates now. No, that's not true. It's all a lie. Because listen, the middle class, they can always go out and borrow more money from somewhere. If they have a mortgage, if they have a house, somebody will extend them credit. And for the last few years, while prices on groceries especially and just about everything else have doubled and tripled, that's how the middle class have been able to stay afloat, by going further in debt to stay afloat. They didn't want to reduce their lifestyle. They didn't want to reduce their spending, and they didn't. And that's why the Federal Reserve has not lowered interest rates. But the poor people are hurting. This is probably the first time in my lifetime where the poor people, who are typically, funded through government programs, they can't afford to shop at Dollar General anymore because the prices have gotten too high. They can't go out and borrow money because they don't have FICO scores. They don't have credit. A lot of them, due to their crappy finances, don't even have bank accounts. They're cash and carry. They're payday loan type, but you got to have a job to get a payday loan. So Dollar General's revenues dropped drastically. So the lie they're telling us is that inflation has cooled off, prices have stopped going up, everybody's, weathered the storm, and it's time to lower interest rates. No, that's a lie. All right, so those are the lies. Zuckerberg is not sorry for censoring conservatives. He's scared of Trump. The economy is not getting better, and Dollar General's revenues, as proved by the people who aren't supposed to be affected by this kind of thing, have proven to be affected. All right, so now what's the truth? I told you I'd tell you the truth. Saw a headline this morning that caught my eye, so I read the article. There was a woman, I think in Arizona, who went to work at Wells Fargo, big corporation, dropped dead at her desk, and nobody found her body for 4 days. What was her name? I don't even remember. It said it in the article, and I think it's point in fact important that I don't remember her name, because guess what? Neither does anybody else. And I thought, and this is one of the things, an example of one of the things I talk about up here all the time. Go to school, get good grades, go to a good college, get a wonderful degree, get a good job with benefits, give up the best 30 to 40 years of your life. This is what this leads to. You end up giving up the best 30 to 40 years of your life working to make someone else, in this case a publicly traded corporation, a large financial institution, Wells Fargo, rich, while barely earning enough to pay your basic living expenses. If that, you probably have to go into debt like the middle class to do it, even at that. Never having time they say your olden years are your golden years. The hell they are. Your golden years are when you're still young and vibrant and viral and strong, and you have the ability to climb trees, go ziplining. This winter in the Philippines, we ziplined from one island to another island. It was wonderful. You live the lie of going to school, getting good grades, going to college, getting a good job, blah, blah, blah. You're 75, you're not going to be able to do that. We were vacationing on white sandy beaches. There was 1,000 Western foreigners there. They were all European. They were all European because the Americans were back here doing what this woman does, giving up the best 30 to 40 years of her life, making someone else rich. She drops dead. Nobody even finds her body for 4 days until they started to smell a foul odor. That's the only truth I saw in the media this week, because that's how it is. That's how it goes. So, and it's all by choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. Okay? Reading recommendation here. If you're like, yeah, we hear what you're saying, Crazy Lake, but God, how do you do it any other way? There's a book out there called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I read that thing 25 years ago. It changed my thinking in regard to this kind of thing, work and money and finance, and it changed my life. It could do the same for you. It's never too late. My wife was talking about thinking about doing something here. Just, there's something out there people are doing. There are technologies in place right now that weren't even here 5 years ago, that if the rug got pulled out from underneath me and I lost my 15 streams of income, what would I do? I wouldn't go get a job again. Now, in 2018, when Zuckerberg pulled the rug out from under me, and until I could build up the YouTube channel, this channel, I had to work at the post office for 6 months. I didn't have to. I chose to work at the post office for 6 months because that would give me enough income to at least tread water until I got going in social media again, okay? Nobody makes us do anything. We don't have to do anything. We make the choice to do what we do. So I made the choice to be at the post office. Old economy job. I hated it. It made me miserable. But it allowed me to tread water, pay the mortgage, put food on the table. And I had to work 7 days a week to do it. But this thing finally got going again. We went viral on YouTube, and then boom, I'm back in social media. Lesson learned, don't partner with anybody and get a heck of a lot more income streams than just one, okay? And we've done that. We've done those things. But if I were in a situation today where I needed another income stream, you know what I'd do? And I wish I could remember the name of the app. It's kind of like Grubhub. It's kind of like that, but it's a thing where you, like people like me who don't want to waste their time going to the store because it's just a waste of time. I lose money if I go to the store. If I need something from the pharmacy, something from the grocery store, and something from a department store, if I were to go into town and run errands and lose half a day's worth of work, that cost me literally thousands of dollars in lost revenues. So I don't do it. I go click, click, click on Amazon. It comes to me the next day or 2 days after that. Now, if I happen to be out, say, for football practice or a football game, and there's a store right there and I can stop in there before or after practice, I'll do that. But I'm not going to make a special trip to run errands, okay? That hurts my brain because that goes against everything that I know and understand and believe about time management and what we can do with our time if we choose to use it wisely and productively, rather than to use it just being busy. Something else most folks don't get. People, I'm so busy. Oh, I'm so busy. Yeah. What did you produce today? Because there's a difference between being busy and being productive. You can go out and whatever. I'm getting off the rails here. But this company, it's an app where, if somebody needs something from the pharmacy, something from the grocery store, something from the department store, and by the way, they want a McDonald's value meal, they'll put in their order on this, and then somebody out there goes to all these different places and does all these things, and then they bring it to their house or their apartment, and they're paid a fee for that, and then plus a tip. And the people that use these services usually tip well, because they know it's better to give that guy $50 for doing all that for you than to, piss away $1,000 worth of their time doing it for themselves, right? They're money-minded people. And so that's what I do. There's no way I'd go anywhere and punch a time clock. There's no way I would go anywhere and promise, this many hours of my day, this many days a week. So the reason I'm telling you this is because you're saying, yeah, but Crazy Lake, how do we do it? How can we do what you've done? We laughed at you 15 years ago when you said you were going to be a social media content creator, or an influencer, whatever they call it, a YouTuber, a Facebooker. But then you made it and we're like, what's he know that we don't? What persistence, never giving up, and not thinking like a dinosaur, and understanding things are always changing, and being flexible. Another book to read, Who Moved My Cheese? Understanding that things are always changing, and you need to be flexible and be willing to change with them, or you will go the way of a dinosaur and you'll become extinct. Okay? So there's just an idea for you. So I've rambled on long enough here. I've got a lot of things to do. Got to sit on my porch and read a book and stare at my pond and spend time with my wife and spend time with my son. That's what I got to do. And that's what's important to me. So I'm going to stop yapping and go do those things. I want to thank you for being here. Yes, we're coming here in October. We're going to be telling so many creepy stories. Got a dozen different new ones the other night from hanging out with a buddy at the pond, having some cold ones after a, days worth of productivity. Good stories coming up. So thanks for being with us here. Thanks for being with us at Sick Twisted Humor on Facebook, Sick Twisted Humor on Instagram, and the most awesome homesteading channel on planet Earth that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid. See you next time for more.